welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Courtney Lauren. For those of you who are visiting my channel for the very first time, thank you so much for stopping by. It really means the world to me. Make sure you click that subscribe button and click that bell so you can get the notifications when I make a new post. And for those visiting again, welcome back. Nice to see you. So I have a lot of entrees and meals on my channel, but we haven't gotten into any side dishes yet. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make one of my very favorite sides. We're going to be making some cream spinach today, steakhouse style cream spinach. So if you guys want to learn how to make this recipe, keep watching and let's get started. Alrighty guys, so today I'm going to be using 2 of these already packaged frozen chopped spinach that you just find in your freezer aisle at your grocery store. I'm going to be using some salt, pepper, Italian seasoning, onion powder, garlic powder, some ground nutmeg, some chopped garlic, mozzarella, some heavy whipping cream, all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of softened cream cheese, 1/2 of an onion diced, some Parmesan cheese, and some butter. So let's get into it. First things first, we're going to go ahead and grab a microwave safe bowl. And I'm going to open up these packages of spinach, and I'm just going to put the spinach into the bowl since it is frozen. I like to do this just to warm it up in the microwave for a few seconds so it can get nice and soft, so I'm able to break it up apart. You can heat it any kind of way you want. You can leave it out for the day so that it thaws on its own. Mine was still in the freezer, so I'm just going to go ahead pop it in the microwave just to get it unfrozen, and then we're going to go from there. Alright, so I had to microwave that for about 5 minutes, and as you can see, I can break it up nice and easily with my fork, but we see all that liquid at the bottom, and we do not want that. You do not want to leave that liquid in that spinach. You're going to have to drain it all out, or your spinach will be very, very watery. So here I have a towel that I'm just going to use. You guys can use paper towels. I've done this before using paper towels, but I find that you got to use a lot, like half a roll, to drain all this liquid out. So what I started doing was, I'll just get a little towel, hand towel, whatever, and I'll drain it in that. I can just throw it right in the washing machine and it's clean, and I'm not wasting 50 paper towels. So you guys do it how you want. This is how I'm going to be doing it. It is a little bit messy because you're literally draining all the water from the spinach, but like I said, you do not want to miss this step. It is very important to get all of that liquid out of there because you do not want watery cream spinach. I want to say I got more than a cup of liquid from this spinach. Like, I had to do this 2 times. So first, I put it in a towel. The first round, squeezed it all up until I got about a cup. I poured the liquid out into the sink, and then I came back and got like another half a cup. So there is a lot of water in the spinach, and you want to make sure that you get this all out. Wring that spinach out to the gods because it needs to be bone dry before we start cooking it. Excuse my dry hand, y'all. Between cooking and taking care of kids, and I have home daycare, I probably wash my hands like 100 times a day, so they're always just dry, so I apologize. Alrighty, now that my spinach is nice and dry, we're going to start cooking. First, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of butter right into our pan. You're going to want to melt this down nice and evenly, and once we melt all that butter down, we're going to grab our onions and we're going to toss that right into our pan. You want to saute the onions for 3, maybe 4 minutes so that they can become nice and soft and translucent and nice and tender before we start adding more ingredients. Alrighty, it's been about 4 minutes, so now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of our chopped garlic right into our pan. You want to saute this maybe 30 seconds to a minute, just so it's all nice and evenly incorporated with the onions, and then we're going to move on to our next step. Alright, so next we're going to grab that all-purpose flour. I'm going to add about 2 spoonfuls of our flour right into our pan, and we're going to saute this in with our onions and garlic for about 1 or 2 minutes, just so that the flour gets all sopped up with the butter and the onions and the garlic, and then we're going to keep it moving. Alright, so next we are going to grab our heavy whipping cream, and I'm going to measure out a half of a cup of that and put that right into our pan. You guys, I'm actually going to be using about a cup, but I'm going to add in the rest during the rest of the cooking process. It's very easy to add in more liquid to thin out your spinach, but once it's in there, you can't take it back out. So I like to start with half of the cup first, see how thick our sauce is. If we want it to be a little bit more creamy, add another splash here, add another splash there, but start small and then add it if you need to. Just keep that in mind. So next we're going to measure out 1/4 of a teaspoon of our Italian seasoning. We're going to sprinkle that in and we're going to give that a mix. And then after that, we're going to season up our roux. So we're going to get our onion powder, give that a couple of sprinkles. We're going to grab our garlic powder. We're going to do the same thing, give that a couple of sprinkles in there. And then also we're going to grab some black pepper and we're going to season this with a little bit of black pepper too. Just a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and give that a mix. And next I'm going to grab my cream cheese, and you're just going to melt this right down into that roux. So the cream cheese melts pretty quickly. So I'm just going to melt that down. My sauce is looking just a tad thick here, so I'm just going to add a splash of heavy cream to thin it out. Like I said, you can add in more liquid, but you cannot take it out. So start small and then add as you need to. Cooking is a trial and error thing. You're not going to get it perfect every time, and it's always a solution to fix something. So if it's a little too thick, add in a little bit more liquid. If it's a little too liquidy, we're going to add a thickening agent. You know what I mean? So next we're going to grab that spinach. Look how dry that is. I got it so dry. So I'm going to try and break this up as best as I can, and then we're just going to drop that right into that creamy roux that we made. And I am going to mix this all up. You really want to incorporate all of that roux with the spinach. Now, since we did dry that spinach out and we pressed it so closely together, it is going to clump a little bit. So normally what I like to do is I like to grab a fork and I like to help kind of break some of those pieces right up. Because like I said, draining it, you're kind of smashing it all together and then it kind of like all lumps together. So just try and break it up as best as you can. And like I said, I'm just going to go ahead, warm up that spinach and give it a good mix. Next, I am going to add some mozzarella cheese. I'm going to add about 1.5 handfuls of mozzarella cheese. You guys can add more cheese, less cheese. You can add a different cheese if you want to. Like I said, this is my recipe. This is how I like to eat it. So I'm adding in 1.5 handfuls of my mozzarella cheese. And I'm just going to add another splash of that heavy cream just so I can get my spinach nice and smooth and creamy and the consistency that I like it. Alright, and next I'm going to grab my freshly grated Parmesan cheese, and I'm going to add a nice healthy handful of that too. Like I said, you guys can use as much or as little cheese as you want. And I'm just going to mix this all around right up into my spinach. Once we get that cheese nice and melted up, I like to season this with some salt as well, because as you guys noticed, we did not put any salt in there yet, so we definitely need to do that. So add about 1/4 of a teaspoon or so of some salt. And I am using my mini measurers today, and we're adding 1 pinch of nutmeg. You guys do not want to miss this step. That is very important, so do not forget to put that in there. And there you have it, you guys. That is what it looks like. So good. One of my favorite sides you can make right at home in your own kitchen. And this is the finished product. I hope you guys really enjoyed this recipe, and as always, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye.